If you haven't seen a bungee jump, watch this. One of these three women started her marriage by making a bungee jump off a bridge. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Jennifer Cavari.
Number two.
My name is Jennifer Cavari.
Number three.
My name is Jennifer Cavari.
Only one of these people is the real Jennifer Cavari, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur Orson Bean. Former Miss America Mary Ann Mobley. Film and television producer David Niven Jr. And temporarily unable to make her usual grand entrance, our very own Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Lynn Swann.
Thank you. And panel, welcome. You look absolutely wonderful this morning.
Thank you.
Kitty, you have to tell us what happened to you.
Well, you know, the best part of the show for me is walking down those stairs. I love that, and I can't do it now because Mark Goodson pushed me and I hurt my knee.
Shame on Mark. You know, it happened in an airport, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I fell down in the airport foolishly over my own feet. I couldn't blame anybody but myself.
Yeah. Well, in a few weeks, you'll be fine, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But the Hare Krishna guy got away.
Okay. Let's get right to the story presented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Jennifer Cavari. And here is her story. Please read along with me. I, Jennifer Cavari, literally plunged into my marriage. My fiancé and I were the world's first couple to be married on a bungee jump. We were hitched together at the ankles with an elastic bungee cord, and hugging each other tightly, we plunged 140 feet off a bridge. Not only did we jump, but the entire wedding party, one by one, took the plunge, except the minister, who had cold feet. The groom wore a tuxedo, and I wore the traditional long white wedding gown. Under my gown, I wore bloomers proclaiming to all assembled, just married. Talk about making a commitment. This was truly a lover's leap. Signed, Jennifer Cavari. We'll find out more about this unforgettable wedding right after this. All right, panel. These three people claim to be Jennifer Cavari, who got married on a bungee cord. Let's start the questioning with Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Whoever you are, I hope this marriage lasts, because I don't know what you do for an encore. Number three, what happens when you finally stop falling and stop swaying, and as we saw, how do you finally get out of that?
Actually, you bounce a few times, and then when we finished bouncing, you're lowered into the raft. And they had to grab the cord with a long pole.
And number two, had you done this before?
Never.
Did you know what you were up to? No. Number one, who invented this?
I'm not sure who invented it. It's been originated with the Aborigines in New Zealand and Australia.
And number two, you did it in Australia.
No,
Where'd you do it?
in Nanaimo, British Columbia.
Oh.
Thank you, Kitty. David Niven Jr.
Thank you. Number one, what actually is this bungee cord made of?
Kind of like the bungee cords used on a bicycle. It's thousands of rubber bands bound together, about 1.5 inches thick.
Okay. Number two, how do you find out how much give it has? You measured by your height and then the length of the rope, or how's it done?
It doesn't go by height, it goes by your weight. So if you're really heavy, they adjust the cord.
And number three, how close did you come to hitting the water or the rocks or whatever were at the bottom?
Actually, we just skimmed the water. I didn't actually plunge into it.
All right.
That's it, David. We left you hanging, so to speak.
Yes.
Mary Ann.
Number one, there has got to be a lot of pressure against your ankle. Is there any kind of protection around your ankle so that the cord doesn't cut into your ankle?
It didn't cut in at all. They had thick terry cloth towels wrapped around your ankles and then bound the ropes around that.
Number 2, were there towels around your ankle?
Yes.
Number 3?
Yes, there was.
Towels.
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 T-O-W-E-L. Towels. Marianne, yes.
Number 2, have you
Austin.
always been courageous? Have you always done wild things like this?
Yes.
Mercy. Number 1, now, does the groom ever hang you up on rubber bands and do funny things? I mean, did he... Well, I don't know. You get started in a strange way. No, you don't have to
That's
answer
not
that.
how we got the idea.
No. Number 3, was your husband wearing a rented tuxedo? I'm just curious.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, but did they charge him extra in case it came back in bad shape? Or...
No.
Number 3, do you agree with number...
Time's up, Orson, and time's up for this panel. We have to vote now for either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote, with a guarantee of $1,000, and if the panel is fooled completely, the team will receive $3,000. So, panel, if you're ready to cast your ballots, we'll begin with Kitty.
Well, I really couldn't vote for number 3. I think that it all happens in Australia or somewhere around there. And she doesn't sound like that. She had that kind of an accent. And no, I didn't vote for... I voted for number 2. I didn't quite understand where she said it happened, but I think it was British Columbia. So I voted for number 2.
Okay. David?
Well, I did not vote for number 2 because I thought this all originated in Australia and New Zealand, which is what number 1 said. And number 1 also had that little wonderful twinkle in her eye talking about her husband and the tying up and the bouncing around the elasticity. So I voted for you.
Marianne?
Well, I'm a little intrigued because I thought a towel would slip, and I thought when I used to hang by my foot from the Circus of the Stars, you have to put an ace bandage or something so that the rope would grab, and a towel just seemed to slip. But everyone gave the same answer. That's why I pursued it so vigorously.
Yes.
But I think it's number 2.
Okay. Orson?
Could have been any of them, but number 1 has the look of the wild colonial girl. I think she would do it, and I voted for her.
Ooh. Well, the votes all in. The panel is split between number 1 and 2. There are 2 votes for number 1 and 2, and number 3 doesn't have a single vote. Well, now it's time to find out who the real bungee bride is. Will the real Jennifer Cavari please stand up? Ladies. Very nicely done. Okay, now it's time to meet the groom. Kevin, will you come out? I have to ask you, what are you planning for your anniversary?
I think we'll do the same thing again, and for our first honeymoon or anniversary, we'll jump again.
Jump again from a higher distance or about the same?
About the same, unless plans change.
Well, who knows? Maybe a family who jumps together stays together. I don't know. Let's meet your imposters. Number 1, your name and what do you do?
My name is Annalisa Erickson, and I'm a PR manager for a solar energy company, and I'm single.
Okay. Number 3, your name and what do you do?
My name is Mary Colleen Hill, and I'm the lingerie buyer for Nordstrom, and I'm not married.
Okay, and I love your bloomers. Terrific. Well, there were 2 incorrect votes at $500 a vote, so your team will receive $1,000. And thank you for being here today on To Tell the Truth. We'll be right back with the real Wolfman right after this. We're back. Let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Stephen Kuntz.
Number 2.
My name is Stephen Kuntz.
Number 3.
My name is Stephen Kuntz.
And it's up to you, panel, to locate the real Stephen Kuntz. And here is his story. Please read along with me. I, Stephen Kuntz, love wolves. They are a much maligned animal. They're also sadly misunderstood. They are cute as cubs, but people make a mistake when they try to train them as pets. Unlike dogs, they cannot be domesticated. When people discover the baby wolves can't be trained, they let them loose. But once exposed to human lifestyle, they cannot be returned to the wild. Many years ago, I bought a wolf cub as a pet, but decided it was not fair to the wolf to keep him in the backyard. That was the beginning of Wolf Haven, a 60-acre sanctuary for wolves who have nowhere else to go. Some come from local zoos and research projects, but most come from bad homes. We also educate the thousands of supporters who visit Wolf Haven. They adopt our wolves and attend our weekend howl-ins. No question, Wolf Haven is a howling success. Signed, Stephen Kuntz. And we will start the questioning this time with Orson Bean.
Thank you, Lynn. Number 2, when you say that your wolves come from bad homes, you mean they had mean mummies and daddies? Or are you talking about the human homes that they've come from?
Well, no, mainly human homes, because people will get them as cubs and will just end up not knowing exactly how to take care of them. And when they find out they're too hard to handle, they just let them run wild.
Number 3, why have wolves gotten such a bad rap? Why are they, is it because of all the vampire music? They make beautiful music, the children of the night. Is that why? Or?
That's part of the reason. It's throughout history the wolf has had a bad name. Mainly it's because they're predators, and you know, people view predators, anything that
meat eaters.
Yeah,
well, veggie animals are hard to come by. But
okay, Marianne.
Where is this wolf sanctuary? Number 1.
This is in central Washington, 8 miles below Olympia.
Number 2, how many acres are in your wolf sanctuary?
There's 60 acres.
And number 3, do wolves mate for life?
They are considered monogamous, but in the real world of the wolf, that's not always necessarily true.
Thank you, Marianne. He sometimes plays around. But don't, that's it. You can't ask any more questions. David.
I thought the real world of the wolf was Lynn Swann's life, isn't that? Okay, well, anyway, number 1, as a matter of interest, how many wolves do you have at Wolf Haven?
Oh, we have approximately 30, well, we have 30 now, plus 2 coyotes and 2 foxes.
And can wolves, number 1, breed with coyotes?
No.
Number 2, what happens at a howl-in? A weekend howl-in, what does that mean?
The howl-in is just the get-together that we have for the people who want to come in and help donate and raise money for Wolf Haven, which is in the...
Oh, that's it?
Oh.
For your question, we couldn't finish it. Katie.
Number 1, they are carnivorous, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And number 3, what does it mean when you say the people who come to see you adopt wolves?
That's one of the programs that we have that helps support the organization. And for $35, you can adopt a wolf, and you get a certificate of adoption and a biography.
But you leave it there. You don't take it home.
Definitely. The wolf stays at Wolf Haven.
Number 2, what happens? Why is a wolf not able to survive in the wild once he's been in a human environment?
Well, because it really doesn't learn how to hunt like, you know, it's always been given its food, feeding times are regulated when it is, you know, in a household.
Number 1, so in other words, it means it's...
Time's up. I'm sorry, Kitty. And panel, it's time for you to vote for either number 1, number 2, or number 3. And we'll start with Orson Bean.
Number 1 looks like he has a kind of authoritative look about him that he could look into a wolf's eye and tell him to back off. And on top of that, he may suffer from hairballs, and he might have a little wolf fur on his blue serge pants. For all these reasons and others I could give.
Okay. Marianne.
Oh, I thought all 3 of them were excellent, but I have this feeling that I had the feeling when he walked down the steps it was number 1, and I'm probably wrong, but number 1.
David?
Well, I haven't been right yet. So I have a strong feeling, Kitty, that it's number 2. Only because he's not shaven and because he also knew about the howlin'.
Instinct.
Well, I think you're right. Number 2 has a very nice sort of Western accent and an easygoing manner. Number 3 knew a great deal about the wolf and the love-in or the adopt-in or whatever it was called, the howl-in. But I voted for number 1. He mispronounced his name slightly in the beginning, but he didn't fool me.
Might be a little... Oops. Well, we know it's there, it's number 1. Okay, well, the votes are all cast, and we have 3 votes for number 1, a single vote for number 2, and no votes for number 3. So, let's find out who the real Wolfman is. Will the real Stephen Kuntz That means please stand up. Oh! Well, panel, they swept you clean. Yeah. Let's find out who the imposters really are. Number one.
My name is Norman Cotter, and I work with hazardous materials and hazardous waste.
Okay. Number two.
And I'm Tim C. McGee, and I'm a limousine dispatcher.
All right. Well, you've stumped our panel, so your team will receive $3,000. But let's meet someone else. Tanya Carloni is standing off stage. She's going to bring over a wolf named Apache Moon. Steve, come on down. Now, this is a real live wolf. How old is this wolf?
7 months old.
7 months? He's pretty good size for 7 months. Steve, how big will this wolf get?
He's basically at his full size. He's going to fill out some because he's still a young wolf. He's going to put more weight on.
About how old would they have to be before they have to leave a home?
Usually around 2 years old. People who have them, try to have them as private pets, end up getting challenged, and then
go back out to the wild, to your sanctuary. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for being on To Tell the Truth. We'll be right back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience right after this. Now it's time to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. Burton, who do you have for us today?
Well, Lynn, today we have Bo Mock from Houston, Texas.
Oh, Bo. Hi. Well, then the question I have to ask, does Bo know?
She does.
She does. Well,
I do have a shirt that says Bo knows.
Okay, well,
My
Bo...
husband knows, Bo knows.
Well, Bo, here's your chance to play one-on-one and win some money. Now, you're going to meet a gentleman who has 2 stories. Please welcome Peter Rocha. Welcome, Peter. Now, Bo, Peter has 2 stories, only one of which is the truth. Now, if you can spot the true story, you'll win $500. So, Peter, what's your first story?
I am a yogi. I am going to squeeze into this suitcase.
Okay, now that may or may not be the truth, Bo. So let's listen to his second story.
I create pictures with jelly beans. I've just finished a jelly bean portrait of Kitty Carlisle.
Okay. Now, panel, it's up to you to help Bo win $500. Each of you will ask a question about each story, and we'll start with you, Kitty, on the yogi story.
Thank you. Does yogi help you to squeeze yourself into that thing, or do you need magic as well?
No. Yoga, in particular, has enabled me to do this.
Thank you.
David?
Once you've squeezed yourself in and it closes, how do you squeeze yourself out?
Oh, it has a special mechanism, a release. It has a special release on there.
Okay.
I just go.
Marianne?
What is the lotus position?
The lotus position is with my legs crossed like this.
Okay. Orson?
Now, once you get in there, does it ever feel so nice and cozy that you just don't want to come out?
I have trained myself to be controlled in that position by being extremely flexible.
I'm glad you keep yourself under control.
But traveling is much cheaper. Okay, now, Bo, that was the first story. Let's hear the second story, the jelly bean artist. Kitty.
Are you going to give me the portrait?
Yes.
Thank you.
David.
Is it as sweet enough to eat as the real one?
I don't think so. She's pretty great.
Marianne.
How many jelly beans does it take to make a portrait of Kitty Carlisle?
About 9,000.
Okay. Orson?
Yes, I happen to own an Elvis done in M&M's, so I'm not too astonished by this. Now, from this you could make a living? Do you ever sell any of your works of art?
Sure.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, Bo, you've heard the cross-examination. Is Peter the yogi, or is he the jelly bean artist?
Lynn, his head alone was probably wider than the suitcase. I'm going to go with the yogi.
Going with the yogi because of the big head, okay?
Just because it's
well,
so
Peter,
bizarre.
What's your true story?
To tell the truth, I am the jelly bean artist.
I'm sorry, you didn't win the $500, but thank you very much for playing.
Thank you.
But you win $1,000, Peter, for stopping it. And let's take a look at some of your work. Welcome back here. Now, I know this guy, Joe Montana. Who is this?
Johnny Carson, here he is.
Studio right next
There he
door.
is. Spider-Man.
Advertising Jelly Bean Art.
Absolutely. And the funniest man around, Pee Wee Herman.
That is terrific. We're going to take a look at Kitty Carlisle's portrait after this. And now, the unveiling of Kitty Carlisle as a Jelly Bean portrait. There it is. You have to tell me, what makes it shine?
The sparkle is Fletco Verathane clear gloss is what does all this beautiful sparkly things.
That's unbelievable. And about 9,000 jelly beans, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
That's terrific. Hey, everyone, thank you for watching To Tell the Truth. We'll see you next time.
Millions are on the table in the first televised cash game of its kind. With Daniel Negreanu, Doyle Brunson, and more. High Stakes Poker. Next Monday night at 9, only on GSN.